So hello everybody, it's me, Angie, back from the corners of the world of doing all the things, journaling and making soap and everything. So I'm back and I wanted to introduce you all to Ashleigh Brown. She is the designer and head honcho over at Compliments and Coffee. So don't you need a compliment when you have your coffee, those first two things in the morning, but definitely get your throttle going. So yes. Thank you, Ashleigh, for meeting up with me today. I know that you're a busy person and I appreciate you taking the time out to come on and let us get all into your business.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on the call with you today and just kind of chat with you and talk about some like boss babe stuff and just learn more about each other too.
All right, awesome, cool. So let's kind of get into it. The first question I always ask people, are they drinking coffee or tea?
Oh, I'm definitely drinking coffee.
Okay, so I'm going to show everybody. Look what I got. This is from Ashleigh's collection.
Yes, so compliment coffee.
Yeah, and then in the inside has a beautiful saying. Mine says, my mind is at ease and my vibe is high. I'm feeling at peace and ready to fly. So
yes.
I picked another one, and I saw this one, and I was like, Ashleigh, can I change our minds?
I like things that rhyme. I remember one day I was sitting in my living room, and I was like, that rhymes. That's going to go inside of a mug. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. This is something that you came up with, this saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should put your name like at the bottom.
Maybe I should. Maybe
because then you know that it's your original quote.
That's true. I think my only thing is I just don't want people thinking of my name, my personal name, when they think. I want them to think about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because really we see that show up online, and then it's like, that's mine, you know? But,
yeah.
you know, you have your style, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your business and like what made you want to get started with like designing these beautiful mugs. And I'm sure you're more than just mugs. I mean, your style is very fly.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I'm wondering what's behind that. Is that just like your extra side hobby, or are you doing something
well,
else?
I work in tech. I'm a full-time like tech recruiter. And this idea came to me just being in the hustle and bustle of the startup world. I'm originally from San Luis Obispo. It's a smaller town, not really much of the city life. And I moved to San Francisco Bay Area for more opportunity. And so when I moved up here and I got into like the tech scene, I was really excited about it and I still love it, but it just comes with a lot of stress, especially if you're working for smaller companies, which I do. And you're wearing multiple hats all the time. And I started to realize that in the mornings and even in the afternoons, I was feeling really stressed out, very overwhelmed with the work that I was doing. And then I started to pay attention to kind of the habits of when I was drinking coffee. It was typically in the morning, and then usually around 3 o'clock, your friends will swing by your desk or send you a message on Slack and say, hey, want to go grab coffee around 2 or 3? And we'd get our midday pick-me-up. So I was sitting one morning having coffee before work, and I was like, gosh, like I read quotes on Instagram or Pinterest or wherever, and the feeling that I get when I read a quote is kind of like, that is for me. And you kind of get this jolt of energy and positivity instantly, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, what if there was an affirmation inside of the mug to me, to myself? Because a lot of coffee mugs have like cute sayings on the outside, but I feel like if there was an affirmation on the inside, it would really mean that it was my time to really just center myself, center my thoughts, correct my thoughts, and realize that my feelings aren't facts, and just kind of adjust and set the tone for the day, and also throughout the afternoon too when I drink coffee. So that's kind of how it came about. I was like, if this works for me, maybe it'll work for other people, because naturally your serotonin levels increase when you drink coffee, and they also increase when you read a really great compliment, or you receive one, or you read a quote. So combining them together is just very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice, because you do see the saying on the outside of that mug, but I mean, if you're really talking to people and you're like sipping, you're not like, but when you like go in for the sip, you see the quote.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool. So
I know for some people, it was like, why aren't you having your logo on the outside? And that's something I'm still kind of going back and forth about. Mm-hmm. But I just really wanted it to be for them, you know, their time. It wasn't about like super promo over here. But it was more or less just like, you can look down, you can see, you know, your affirmation. And the whole point of it is to say it out loud, because when you say something over and over, it gets into the subconscious of your mind and you start to believe that it's true. So that's why it's so important to say positive things instead of negative things, because the more negative thoughts you have, the more negative things that you say, they start to really roll over and impact your life. So this was just a quick way to remind people to treat themselves kindly and to really pour into themselves, because the more that we take care of ourselves, the more that we can be there for the people that we love.
Yeah, totally. My background is I have a psychology degree, and yeah, so I'm always like interested in how the mind works, and inter and intrapersonal skills. And people say, oh, well, I'm really a loner, but I mean, yeah, in a sense, like, you don't need your energy from other people, but we're designed to have touches with people, even if it's 10 or 15 minutes, like, out of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good. Well, my next question is for you, is how have you maintained your self-care since like all this whole COVID-19, because you're in San Fran, right?
I just moved to Oakland, so I'm in Oakland now. But
So cross the bridge.
The bridge.
Okay, so I came to San Francisco back in 2015, and I stayed over the bridge. I commuted like all the way down to Potrero Hills.
Oh my God.
Yes, it was pretty crazy. But by the third day, I felt like I was from there. I get a little rolling bag. I got me a better bag to get through on the bus, and then like another bus change. I was in the groove, and the weather was great. I really enjoyed it. The commute was a little bit long over the Golden Gate, but
yeah, the commutes can be very long. But you're absolutely right. There's something about figuring out public transportation in a different city, like especially like when I travel or something, or when I moved here, I never took public transportation before, because I came from a town where you have to drive. So I was terrified. I think I was Ubering for a few months, and I was like, this is too expensive. I need to figure this out. And when I figured it out, I was like, hitting the town. Like, you have this newfound freedom where you can go anywhere.
Yes, I loved it. The lady that I stayed with, she was a makeup designer, so she was always gone on like shoots. And so once I figured out the Golden Gate, the bus that went over, then I figured out that Uber has a special if you share the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like $7 flat to get me to the bus to get out of there quick. I had to take the like extra bus to get me to the bigger bus.
Where you're going, there's always like a change. There's always a transfer.
Yeah. And then I had changed the first day, and everybody was like, that was figured out. I got the card. So I was like, ting! I was like, all right. Yeah. So awesome. So with you, like living in San Francisco, like how, like this, your life in general, like how has it been since all of this happened? Like how have you been able to maintain your self-care?
It's been pretty crazy, just especially with COVID impacting a lot of the workforce, especially the startup that I was at. Our clients were small business owners, so we felt it really quickly, and unfortunately we had layoffs. So I was one of the people that was affected by that. And at first, I was devastated because I had just started there. It was so much fun. I loved my team. But then I was just like, you know what? Like, this is a time for me to kind of unwind and focus on my business. So I'm super, super grateful for that. So self-care to me is also, I know it sounds so lame, but I've learned this from my husband, but it's also being responsible, not just like responsible on like your mental health, but it also responsible on like the things that you need to handle. Because if you're not handling like your day-to-day responsibilities, then you're always going to feel off balance mentally. So for me, it's just being able to handle the things that I've been putting off. And then going for walks, getting out in the sun. Since I'm in Oakland now, we live on the basin, so we're on the water, which is great. I'm a water sign, so I feel really connected to the ocean. And I'm always taking these walks across the bay now that I can, because I just got out of, I broke my ankle. So I'm just now starting to walk again, which is great. But yeah, and then just spending time with my husband and calling family members that I don't necessarily get the chance to speak with on a regular basis. So just a little bit of everything. And cooking. Cooking has been really fun.
So what's your favorite thing to cook?
So right now I'm my husband's Vietnamese, and so I've been cooking a lot of Asian dishes. I haven't really been Vietnamese dishes, but the other night I made really great San Francisco style garlic noodles with lobster tail, and it was phenomenal. He said it was so great and it was so much fun to make. So I really love cooking with Asian spices.
I started following it's a Thai restaurant. I started following because I was like trying to get into gardening, well, container gardening. And there's this, I can't remember, I gotta look it up what city it's in, somewhere in California. But they have their own garden in the back, grow like their own lemongrass and everything. And
Oh,
like
awesome.
the food that I'm just like, I might have to remove you off my social because I love Thai. And
Yeah.
I like Vietnamese too. We have a
Mhm.
local Vietnamese place here, which sure is nothing compared to when you go to San Francisco or like Seattle. But you know, it's good for small town America.
Yeah, for sure. Right. To have a Vietnamese restaurant in your town is great. Where I'm from, we didn't have a Vietnamese restaurant, so
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, Eastern Washington.
yeah, like outside out there, yeah, you guys have great food.
Yeah, especially getting to Seattle, especially with like any kind of Asian style food, I find that it's really really good. Really
Mm-hmm.
good.
You don't
Yeah.
feel so sick after you eat it either. It's not super heavy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's flavorful. So it's a lot of fun to work with or cook with the spices.
So it's nice. So since COVID, one of the mental health things that you've been self-care and mental health things you've been doing, just really tapping into like kind of like a new hobby, cooking and really
Mm-hmm.
getting into that, and then just like focusing on your business and staying
Yeah,
up with all the things that you want to do.
staying busy and like getting back into fitness, just a little bit of everything because you have so much time during the day that you can focus on more than one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. Okay. So the next question I have for you is, what advice would you give someone as people start to like take on this like new normal? Because life
Um,
has forever changed, right?
yeah, I feel like number one is I always like to say with this new normal, you're kind of removed from a lot of people. And so with that, you're able to kind of see when your energies, who's draining your energy and who's giving you energy. So I would like say for number one, I want people to think about that. Like who are the friends that are really pouring into you and you're receiving from, and who are the friends that you're just feel like you're constantly there and it's one-sided, even family. And then focus on those friendships going forward. Like this is a time where you can kind of trim some of the fat. And so I feel like people should do that while they're like in COVID. Um, and just really nourish and pour into the relationships that are beneficial to you. And another thing is don't compare on like what other people are doing. Like don't feel like you have to be working around the clock. Listen to your body, what it needs. There's a lot of information on the internet right now that's saying like get to work, do this, do that. And some people they're thinking I don't feel like doing that, and then they start to beat themselves up because they don't feel that way. So just don't compare your journey to other people's journey. Take the time out that you need and then get back on track when you're ready to. um, that's like the best advice that I have is just like don't compare your situation to other people's because everyone's being affected in different ways.
Right.
And also understand that people are being affected differently and show up for them too, because treat others how you want to be treated. So if you know that you have friends and family members that are going through a difficult time, whether it's a loss, whether it's a death, whether it's loneliness, like if you care about them and you love them, reach out to them.
Yeah, totally. Very good advice. So what are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading Power Thoughts by Joyce Myers. I just really like her books. And Power Thoughts to me is really focused on, I'm very spiritual. And so for me, it's like focusing on a lot of the things that weigh me down mentally and just really kind of diving more into like the mind. I'm not a doctor. I didn't get my degree in psychology. So Compliments and Coffee was just something that came to me. And now that I have a product, I really want to educate myself on just different ways to protect your thoughts and create really good thought patterns for myself. So that's what I'm reading right now. It's been really great too.
Okay. Do you read more than one book or do you read several?
I read one at a time. I think when I was younger, I was like a huge book reader, but I think also with the internet, I'm constantly reading articles too. And so I read a lot, but it's not always just several books. It can just be different types of content.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing. So are there any parting words that you would like to share with the world?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I would like to tell people to treat themselves kindly. Like, I know it sounds so simple, but when you start to pay attention to things like when you drop something, you're like, dang it, like, you're so dumb. Why did you do that? Instead of like, it's okay, I can clean this up. It's no big deal. No one got hurt. Like, start paying attention to those little things. And when you start paying attention to them and you start becoming more self-aware, like, self-awareness to me is huge. When you become more self-aware, that's when growth happens. So just start paying more attention to the way that you speak to yourself when you mess up. Start paying attention to your thoughts when someone maybe is giving you feedback that's hard for you to receive, and start to try to unpack that. Definitely always get help. But also there are some things that you can do yourself that will really help you grow mentally. And beautiful things happen when you start to really work on yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, opportunity doors open up. You'd be surprised some of the things that happen when you start to take charge of your life.
Yeah. Taking full responsibility. So very true. Because I tend to, like, sometimes I have to work on, I'm like, I see the glass half full.
Yes.
You know, and like, so it's like, you know, so I don't know, just the world, just everybody's in all these different pockets, and it's just amazing how we talk to ourselves sometimes because it's not like when you're aware, it's like when something flares up or you can't find something, like, or you just get real mad at yourself. That's when, like, you can, like, really get down on yourself. It's never when you're, like, thinking, like, I don't talk to myself that way. It's like, pause. Next time you get really upset with yourself, like, you should have made this decision, but you didn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I find I have to catch myself sometimes when I'm like, and it's usually when I'm really upset about something. If I've taken on too much and, like, everything's kind of seems like the bottom's falling out.
Yeah.
So it's a good reminder. So thank you.
Protect your peace too. Learn how to say no. Protect your peace and learn how to say no. Mm-hmm. Because when you set boundaries for yourself, you're basically telling people, look, I'm teaching you how to treat me. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's, like, another thing I want to share with people, because I had to learn the hard way. I was the yes person. I was a people pleaser. And then also when I started working in tech, I realized that was really hindering me, because when you say yes and you take on things, people just, oh, she can handle it. She can do it. And they don't really care about your workload. Right? And when I start saying, you know what, I would love to take this right now. My plate's full. Is there another time I can take this on? Or maybe if I can get help with this? And people are like, oh, absolutely. Like, we will definitely help you. Sorry. So just start speaking up for yourself. Mm-hmm. And creating those boundaries. And, like, a lot of people, like, things will fall in line more. You don't feel so overwhelmed.
Yeah, so true. Especially when we're trying to, like, navigate a new normal. Some people don't like the word new normal, but I think new is always nice. You're like a new gift, right?
And it is normal. Like, it's going to take some time for us to go back into society and like, be the way that we were. Like, so I'm a licensed makeup artist and esthetician. I don't practice anymore. And so I love touching. Like, I would always give facials with the skin and everything. And that was my way to connect with people. And I love to hug. And so that is hard for me, that, like, when I see someone, I live in an apartment complex and I know my neighbors. So when I walk outside, I see them and I want to hug them, but we can't do that. Yeah. So that's been kind of hard for me.
Yeah, I had a slip in the moment on Saturday. A friend, she lives about 2 hours away, and she was willing to go into another state to pick up something. I need the baker's rack. She went into Idaho, picked the baker's rack up with me, and then she was like, hey, I'm going to be in Spokane. Do you want me to get you anything? She ran around, got my coconut oil, got my lye for me. Like, I didn't have to go out of town, which was 100 miles for me. And she brings it, and she pulls up, and she gets out of the car. And I was like, let me put my mask on so I can hug you, right? I hug her. And then later we're talking. I'm like, I wasn't supposed to have done that. Like, it was just like, I hadn't seen her in such a long time. And like, what am I mad, you know? And granted, they're on a farm, and, like, she's way out in the middle of nowhere, but it's just still, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's like, I forgot too. I just put my mask on, just like, and, yeah, like, it's just.
It's just like secondhand nature to want to hold and hug the people that you love and care about. So you're absolutely right. It is a new normal. Oh, I know that you already asked me this before, but I do need to dial back because, girl, let me tell you something. Your candles, talk about self-care. Okay. I almost burned all of them, both of them out. I kept them burning all day long. By far the best candles that, like, my husband and I are obsessed with candles. We go on hunts for candles. I love, like, sandalwood type stuff I was sharing with you. And I haven't been able to find candles that I like lately, so I've been buying wicks and plugging it into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
No, the way that your candles like just fill the room, the fragrance.
Oh, cool.
Phenomenal. And the little crystals that you put inside, the stones are so phenomenal. Like,
oh, thank you.
Huge fan. I will be purchasing from you for a very, very until you stop. Hopefully you don't, because your candles are
making them
fun. A1.
Oh, thank you so much. I make soap and stuff like that, and my customers, like at the farmers market. So last year, second year, I think I sold them. They were like, wow, we have everything for the bath except for candles. And I was like, candles? And they were like, yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah. So during the winter, I was like, okay, let me try this out. And I remember last summer, like my candles like really surpassed my soap sales. But I really wanted to come out and I really wanted to be different. And I used to put color in them, but I really felt like just the white just made it look more, just kind of like more upscale. And then I was like, what can I do to make it look different? And so I live in Eastern Washington, just rock. And so I was just like, oh my goodness, I'll put stones in them. And then if, they buy a bigger candle, which comes with a bigger stone, like if you went to wire wrapping, or you get a little cool jar, you can start collecting all your stones from your candles.
About that, because my mom collects stones.
Yeah. So your gift was, I really wanted it to be really sustainable. And something that is like a gift that keeps giving. Like, especially if a little kid comes over and they're like, I like this little rock. And you be like, you can have it, and just like, so that's kind of, I'm actually picking up some today. I have a friend and we were just talking. He was like, you should come rock hunting with us. And I'm like, really? And then he was like, you're excited. I'm like, well, I do. Let me show you my candles. He was like, I have buckets of rocks. I'm like, really? He was like, I'll send you some. So I get to go pick them up today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, they're phenomenal. And I didn't even think to put them in my bath because I took a bath probably like 2 weeks ago. I shower regularly, but the bath I don't do often. I'm just getting back into them now that I have time. And it was so nice. I got some like lavender bubble bath, and I also put like rose. It was like this rose concentrate stuff, just a splash. And I grabbed candles and I put them in the bath. And I'm like, I want to start doing more, like taking more baths. And I just purchased a bath tray from Amazon the other night. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be able to relax in it. So putting your candles, there's a spot for candles right in the tray. So
yeah, awesome. Well, I'm glad. Well, thank you so much. It makes me feel really good.
Yes, I love them. Me and my husband, we love them. And they're luxurious. It doesn't just smell good. They smell like luxury. Like it's a treat.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I use a high-end fragrance oil that doesn't have a whole bunch of chemicals in it, and they actually use a lot of their base is essential oils. So I have a lot of people come into my booth and they'll say, I don't have a headache. And I'm like, what? They're like, I get headaches when I walk in the stores. And they were like, I don't feel that here. That's because, that's why they're a little pricey, because the essential oils, I don't buy like the cheap stuff, Yeah. Because I think it's so important when you burn it. And then I keep it in the tins, which I kind of didn't want to, but my girl is a traveler. Like, she's on the go. So I want her to be able to take her tin and be able to put it in her bag. So she goes to her Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like that was her thing that she can carry with her. Her candle, her coffee, and her, journal, and just go.
If we have any Airbnb people watching this, I feel like you and I both have really great products to just like level up your Airbnb experience, because I actually customize them. If you order 6 or more mugs, you can actually customize what you want the compliment or affirmation to say. So like realtor, or you do have like rental homes, you can actually have sweet little messages to the people that are staying with you. And when they start their morning, and they're going to remember that, and they're going to share that in the review. And for me, I love candles because scents trigger memory for me. I'm like, oh, I remember when I was 12 and I was in New York, I smelled this when I was walking down the street. So fragrance is so special to me. So if you add those into your home too, like, people will love it. They will love it.
Yes. And that's how I try to write my descriptions when I have my candles. Like for my down south, it's a lilac scent, but it just reminds me of sitting on Auntie Novelle's porch. Like, you're looking all city-fied, you're down south, you're from the area, but everybody look at you like, you ain't from here, but you just nod and say, yes, ma'am, no, sir, right? Sit on the porch, everybody coming by like, hey, and the lilac's just in full bloom, and you eating, lemon pound cake and some sweet tea. It's just like, that's when I smell that. I was just like, So
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get you.
You have an Aunt Novella. I have an Aunt Novella in San Francisco that has a stoop. So how funny.
Oh, well, there. See, look, there you go. I have this. I'm like running low, and I'm gonna make some more. So I'll have to send you one of those and see if it.
Oh yeah. Actually,
yeah.
I want to order some for my mom for Mother's Day.
Well, you just let me know what I could do to help it. I sure will. All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come out. It's really fun. One of the reasons why I'm doing these interviews and talking to other people, one, if you didn't know about compliments and coffee, now you know, right? And now you get to know the face behind the brand, which makes it even personal when you are purchasing, and you know that here's someone who has goals and dreams and aspirations, and that your purchase supports those things. And so you're just not like going in a big box store and just picking something randomly off of the counter, but you know that it's designed with a lot of thought behind it. So please, definitely, your website.
My website is www.complimentsin. So it's like the letter N, complimentsincoffee.com. And same for my Instagram, compliments with the letter N coffee. Just compliments and coffee.
Cool. So be sure to follow Ashleigh, show her some love, and support her endeavors. So thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.